Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Ithakus Bane bringing you INFAERNUM. Now this will probably be the final video in this series, in this empowered setting, because we are at day 6. After day 6, you have day 7, where you're either alive and at the promised land or you be dead. Simple, simple situation. So we either survive today or we fail the entire thing. But yes, we are back with INFAERNUM, day 6. There we go. So day 6, the end of all things happens today. The judgment day has begun. The fallen ones spring up from every rift of the earth. There are armies of thousands of them, which are led by a beast that rose from the sea. Besides the beast, the dragon lurks around the entrance of the promised land. The sight of the territory's main area is rapturous. A throne surrounded by the 4 bestial beings that summon the harbingers of the end. Yeah, today's the big day because today is like the final battle. We are currently at the border of, or the outskirts of Vitoria, this port city. I didn't check, did I? I didn't check whether it's a town or a city. I'll edit and maybe put something up here. But yes, we have finally got here, but we are now surrounded by a lot of fallen ones, a lot of trouble, a lot of beasts, a lot of evil, and yeah, I've got to try and get through it. Now, I'm planning on using another supplement here. I'm planning to use the Rifts supplement. And the way that this is going to happen, if I just pull up the Rift supplement, which is here, is that with this supplement, you essentially make your way through the portals or through the rifts where the fallen ones have come. So you're kind of going into an alternate dimension or a different world, and you're going to have a sequence of challenges. You can use the attached rift sheet, which will be in the game itself. And what you'll do is you'll roll 2d6 or 3d6 if you want a bigger challenge, and that represents the number of challenges that you will have to overcome before you can pass through the rift. You can, like for me, what I'm going to do is I don't think I'm going to have time in one video to do potentially 12 challenges. So there is also an option where at every stage or every one of these sort of rift locations, you can roll on the oracle to see whether there is another challenge in the next location. So what I'll be doing is I'll be rolling up sort of a random location for each of these challenges. And I'll be also using the oracle to determine whether there is actually a challenge there for me to face or whether I can move through to the next one. Hopefully, that will reduce the number of challenges to something that I can include on one session video. What I'll also do is I'll probably come up with a very simple sort of dice roll table to determine what type of challenge lies in each of the locations, whether it's a environmental challenge, a trap, some kind of creature or enemy, maybe some kind of mental challenge. So it's not all going to be just me fighting fallen ones every single time. Now, in terms of the challenges that we're going to be facing, and this rift represents my journey from the outskirts of Vitoria to the port. So essentially what I'm saying is that this city has become absorbed. It's become encircled by this rift. And to get to the port and to find a boat out, I've basically got to make my way through this rift and get through the other side. Now, the basic challenges are going to be a challenge level of D6. You'll roll each one separately. However, the second to last challenge is going to be 2d6 challenge rating. And then the final challenge will be 3d6. Now, in the previous video, on day 5, I did get cursed. My doom track got full and I was faced with the Death Horseman, and I got a curse which basically said that I have to defeat the dragon if I want to get to the Promised Land. So what I'm doing is I'm actually setting the dragon as being that final challenge, and that will be a Colossus fight, yeah, which we did before, but I'm going to be setting the challenge as 3d6, not 3d6 plus 6. Because I'm thinking that by the time I get there, if I get there, I'm going to be in a bad state. Because I'm going to be starting day 6 with, I think, 2 dooms already on the track. So yeah, and I'm thinking that maybe the second to last challenge, the 2d6 challenge, I'm thinking possibly the Corruption Claw villain. Yeah, I've kind of got a soft spot for that sort of possessed fallen one, the sort of super villain that we met first at the farm that I defeated, and then I think we met in the last video, or was it the video before that, where they sort of came back from the dead to kind of with a group of assassins. So I'm thinking that the second to last challenge will be the Corruption Claw in like a final effort to stop me. And then the final challenge will be the dragon. And if I can defeat the dragon, then I can basically get on a boat, exit the rift, get onto a boat and make for the Promised Land. Now, with rifts, when you get to the end of a rift, normally you can get an artifact, a very powerful artifact. I don't think, should I? I might do one just so that you guys can see what it is. If I manage to get that far. But it's not actually going to play any part in terms of this story, in terms of this series, because I'll have already escaped. That's the plan. So yeah, the rifts, this supplement does allow you to do sort of a gauntlet of challenges. And like I say, if you succeed the rift, if you get right to the end, you can actually find a very powerful artifact, which works the same way as the Colossus ability that you absorb. You kind of need 2 miracles to sort of activate it. But yeah, that's the plan for today. We shall see if I can actually survive day 6. Hopefully I will. But like I say, we're going to be doing this this day as basically as I enter the city of Vittoria, I enter this rift. And then we'll be working our way through the challenges, hopefully till the end, until we can meet that dragon. Right. Are you ready? I don't know if I am. Right. Anyway, Infernum, the Empowered, day 6. I think it's going to be the last video, but we shall see what happens. Enjoy. Right. Here we go. Day 6. Now, I'm imagining Vittoria as being a city consumed, absorbed by this rift. So it's like a multicolor mist that's kind of enveloping and completely covering the city. And to get to the port, to get to the Promised Land, I'm going to have to venture through the city and through this weird environment, this sort of portal environment, which is not exactly in our world, but maybe someplace else. Now, I have created a table where I'm going to be rolling for each of the locations to see what I find. The locations are on the rift sheet here. So for a normal kind of challenge of rift, you roll 2d6 and that represents the number of locations. If you want a harder challenge, if you've got a bit more time, you can roll 3d6 and that will then be the number of locations or the potential challenges. We'll be doing 2d6. And like I say, for every location, I'm going to be rolling on the table to see what lies within. And what I've done is, I think initially I was thinking of using the suggestion in the Rift supplement. Now again, I have printed this out black and white. In the book, it's going to be all nice and colorful and everything else. But in the Rift supplement, it recommends, or a suggestion is that maybe you use the Oracle, the 1d6, to see whether there is a challenge in each location. And you could also do it so there is a challenge in each one, but in my table, what I've done is I've included an element of nothing. So if I roll a 2 to 3, there's nothing there, and I can move to the next area. A 1 is a trap. Now, for the traps, now I'm not actually going to be using the supplement per se, but again, I've printed it out in black and white. But in the supplement Lord of Dread, this is where it gives you rules for doing things like a dungeon crawl. And this, when the designer was designing this, he very much had Diablo in mind. But yes, in the Lord of Dread, there is actually a small table for traps, so I'll be using that. But we won't be using the rest of the supplement. Not in this series anyway. On a 4, there will be some kind of environmental challenge, and for that I'm going to be using random realities to roll up what the environmental challenge will be. Now, for the trap and the environment, I'm going to be setting the difficulty as 1d6. And then on a 5 or 6, we've got a fallen one. So again, we'll be using our usual generator of fallen ones. Now, in a rift, what you'll do is you'll go through every different location, whether there's a challenge or not. And when you get to the second to last location, the challenge is going to be a 2d6 challenge. I'm thinking the Corruption Claw. Yeah, that fallen one who's kind of been following me through the story. And then for the final challenge, it's going to be 3d6. And for that, I'm going to be using the Colossus. I'm thinking it's going to be the dragon. Because again, I think I mentioned this in the intro, I do have a curse. I was cursed by the horseman of death. The promised land won't take your soul unless you slay the dragon. So the dragon is going to be represented by that last challenge in the rift, the dragon. Now, we are starting with 2 dooms on our track, which means we only have 4 spaces left. However, we can get rid of dooms if we roll miracles. I have a blessing or ritual from the Colossus that I defeated. For 2 miracles, I can actually regenerate D3. So, worst case, I can only regenerate 1. I do have the potential of regenerating 3. So that could come in useful as well. I have my other supplements already. Like I say, Colossus is ready there in case we get to the end. And we have our standard Chaos supplement for use in, I don't know, generating information in terms of dooms and neutral events and possible NPCs. Things that we may find within the Rift. Right, that's enough talking, enough chatting. We are now at day 6. I'm going to take number 6 in terms of what's happening in the world around us. Basically, day 6 is where we have like the final battle, the battle for the apocalypse, good versus evil, fallen ones versus everybody else. And normally you would kind of roll to see what's happening, but because we have that curse, which is focusing on the dragon, I'm just going to be taking that last value here. The dragon devours the beast, increasing its power. So yeah, waiting for me in the rift. Day 7, there won't be a video, because on day 7, you either reach the promised land and survive, or you don't and are dead. But yes, let's begin. Let's begin day 6. Right, let us go. Now, the rift sheet includes a number of sections. You've got the rift locations here, which does say at the top here, what is this challenge like and the difficulty. So you can make a quick note in terms of the location, in terms of what you meet, what you're going to have to overcome, and then you can roll up the difficulty. Now, for normal challenges, it is 1d6. Also, on the left here, it says, what's the rift's entrance like? So the portal that takes you into the rift, in this case, the area that used to be Victoria, this multicolor sort of mist where you can kind of see the city within, crossing the bridge into a multicolor mist that envelopes the city. Yeah, because Victoria's actually, a lot of it is situated on like an island. So you need to cross bridges to get to the sort of main area of Vittoria. So I'm saying that I'm having to cross this bridge, and then the sort of this multicolor mist, this moving mist, will just sort of cover me, and I'll be transported into whatever world or dimension Vittoria is currently at. Then we've got here amount of challenges where you can just put the total number. What's the rift's salvation? So I think I mentioned this in the intro as well. When you complete a rift, when you get to the end and overcome the final challenge, you actually get a legendary artifact, a powerful object, which will use 2 miracles to kind of operate or use. Now, since this is literally the end of our series, the end of this game, I won't be able to use the legendary artifact, but we'll roll one up anyway. There's a table in the Rifts supplement that you can actually roll up the artifact. Very powerful. So again, this is more in terms of record keeping, or if you're doing a rift earlier in the game, the reference is here to help you. But enough talking, let's get on with it. Right, so we're going to be rolling up 2d6 to find the challenge. So how many challenges are we going to overcome? We get a total of 6. Okay, so we put here, we have a total of 6 challenges. So we are going to be using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 challenge locations. Now, again, what I'm going to do to kind of keep the video at a decent length is on the table, if I roll a 2 to 3, there's nothing there, I can move to the next location. Now, initially, I was going to be kind of rolling up a random location using the Random Realities book, but I'm thinking that I'm moving through a city. If I roll for an environmental challenge, then I can roll up and get some information regarding the location. Otherwise, it's going to be city streets, sort of parks, playgrounds, places like that. So I'm not actually going to roll up each specific location unless it's an environmental challenge. So we enter this portal, this rift. We enter what used to be or what is Vittoria. And we go to our first possible location. And we have to roll on the table and to find out if there's anything there, any kind of challenge. And we roll a 5. A 5 is a fallen one. So straight away as we enter the city, as we cross the bridge, we get confronted by a fallen one. So let's give a quick roll to see what it is. It is a 3, a spectral appearance. And I've just I haven't done my omens, have I? Never mind. Right, so in the first location, we find a fallen one. It has a spectral appearance. So maybe it's like a ghost-like fallen one, some sort of incorporeal kind of ghost. Abilities, we get a 4. Possible servant of death. Yep, that's pretty much fits the story. So we've basically got like this ghost. Maybe its power is things like energy sapping. It can drain your energy, kind of like what were those creatures in like role-playing games and sort of Warhammer kind of games? Was it wights? Was it wights that drain your energy, that drain your life force? Maybe it's something like that. And again, I'm thinking that I'm not going to actually roll for the challenge level for random for fallen ones. I'm just going to take it as D6. So the challenge level is going to be 1. Okay, nice easy one to start with. And while we're at it, let's roll up our omens. Oh, that's a very nice start, and I think I might need it. Now, a roll of 6 means we get 6 omens. Might need those, but it's okay. Right. So our first challenge for the rift is this sort of ghost-like spectre appears from a side street in my path and go, ooh. Yeah, it's only got a difficulty of 1, so it may not be too difficult to overcome, but I do have to be careful in terms of collecting dooms. So maybe this this fallen one, it has the power to sap my life force, and that represents the dooms that it may do to me, the injuries that it may do to me. But I've got to get past this. I've got a total of 6 challenges to overcome, or 6 locations to overcome. This is the first. So let us begin with... Oh, I don't believe it. You know, I could have put money on that. I mean, this would have been more likely, I think, but this is not a good way to start. And as I've been doing in this game, every time I get a double doom, I need to get a torment. No. Well, I mean, I've got omens here. Oh no, this is not a good start, but kind of expected. I don't really want to start taking. I mean, I could potentially take 1. I think I can always use. Okay, so the way that I used to play it, the way that I've been playing it when I first started the game and first started reading the rules, was that omens had to be used to get rid of dooms when you rolled them. But the designer actually mentioned in one of the earlier videos that that's not the case. You can actually use them at any time to get rid of dooms on your doom track. So I can always use omens later to get rid of ones if I need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 1 omen to get rid of 1 doom, which still leaves me with 1, but I could potentially still get rid of all of them if I can manage to use my miracle. Oh dear. But because I rolled 2, I need to get a torment. So maybe energy sap. So maybe because of, like I say, this ghost-like fallen one, it sapped or leached some of my life force. So maybe I don't have a lot of energy. So maybe for things, again, physical activities, maybe it's going to count as a misfortune, as I just don't have as much energy as I normally do until I can get a miracle and get rid of that torment. All right, but I do get a deed, which means I do 1 damage, which means that the challenge is done. The fallen one is defeated, but as I swipe at the thing to get rid of it, it catches me with one of its claws and does sap some of my energy, my life force. So I'm on 3 dooms now. That's really not good, but we will continue hoping that we're going to be rolling some miracles so I can get rid of them. Right, so we move past the spectral fallen one to the next area in Vitoria, and what do we come across? We come across 4. Environmental challenge. Okay, so for that we are going to need random realities, and we roll, again black first unless I say otherwise, a 3-3. I think I've looked at the table for 3-3 a number of times. 3-3. I think here, ashen or swamp. So maybe this part of Vitoria has become, which one? Ashen or swamp? I think swamp. It's not technically a swamp, but maybe this part of the city has been flooded, and maybe it's not going to be easy to actually get across. There may be areas like potholes, or maybe parts where it's a lot deeper than it looks. Maybe it's like an open area, like an open drain or something where I can potentially sort of fall in and get hurt. So I'm going to use the word swamp, but it's going to be to represent an area of the city that's flooded. And that's going to be the challenge that I've got to overcome, getting through this flooded area of the city. Challenge level is a 4. All right. So here we go. We're now going to try and traverse our way through this flooded section. Hopefully not finding any deep bits, because that's going to represent the dooms and injuries and stuff. Now, again, I do have energy sap, so I'm thinking that maybe I'm kind of shaking a little bit after the attack from the Spectre. So I'm thinking that this could count as a misfortune for this challenge. So I'm going to try and cross, maybe sort of trying to go from like raised area. If I can see like a raised area, like a platform, I'll be going from one of those to the other. Where I don't see those, I'll be going through the water itself. So we get, oh, here we go. Here we go. So a neutral event you can use to generate sort of more details, information, descriptions of the scene if you want to. I'm not going to bother with this. We do have a doom, we do have a deed. Now a deed will reduce the difficulty by 1. So this becomes a 3. It's not a 6, so the misfortune doesn't happen, but we do have another doom. I think I'm going to use 1 omen to get rid of the doom. All right, let us continue through this flooded section. Oh, hello. Hello. Now, we've got a deed, which can reduce by 1. A miracle can reduce by 2. So if I use those, I can actually reduce and complete the challenge, which will leave me with 1 miracle left. Now, with the miracle, I can get rid of the torment. Yeah, I can't get rid of the dooms because I need 2. But I can use that to get rid of the torment. So that's what we're going to do. So, during this period, the energy sap, the sort of life drain does wear off. So I'm not affected by that anymore, which could come in handy. Because like I say, moving through this area, I am counting as a physical activity. So it will count as a misfortune. But we get rid of that with 1 of the miracles. And, actually I'm lucky it wasn't 3. If it was 3, I'd die. And we get a deed and a miracle. So it's a total of 3 points for the challenge. We overcome. We managed to get through the flooded section. Excellent. Right, we move to the 3rd area of the rift, further into the city of Victoria. We get, oh, hello. What am I doing? I mean, that was a nice roll, but I've got to roll what the thing is first. Oh, nuts, I'm going to lose that. Okay, we get a 1. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. Okay, so we're going to the Lord of Dread supplement. Again, black and white because I'm saving my ink. It's all nice and colour in the book. But the Lord of Dread is the Dungeon Crawl supplement. It does include a table for traps. D6, 1, poison, 2, explosion, 3, piercing, 4, crushing, 5, slashing, and 6, magic question mark, because this game is not fantasy. It is anything you want it to be, and there will be cases where magic isn't a thing. I think in this case it is, because we're dealing with superheroes and supervillains. We're dealing with rifts and the paranormal and everything else. So magic is a possibility. So it's a trap. Let me roll what type of trap it is. Bum, bum. A 3. A piercing trap. So maybe it's something like a sharp stick or a sharp stake or something. Spring-loaded, maybe? Maybe it's a spring-loaded trap where something like a sharp stake comes through and could potentially stab me. Difficulty is... oh, no. Oh, no. So maybe it's multiple traps, and I've got to make my way through. It's like a scene out of Indiana Jones where you've got to try to get past trap after trap, spike after spike, spear after spear. That's kind of represented by the high challenge level. It's not just one trap, it's a series of these kind of spear traps. Oh no, shit, didn't want that. Right, let's go. I want to roll like that one we just had. Not that one. I don't want that one. Now, luckily, I did get rid of that torment, because otherwise I would have lost the miracle. But as it is, we've got a neutral, we've got a doom, and we have a miracle. Now, very observant. Have I spelt that right? Is it supposed to be ENT? I can't remember. Anyway, actually, very observant could work with traps. So I'm thinking that my fortune could play a part in this challenge. So I'm thinking that very observant allows me the ability to sort of see the trigger or to see the trap and try to avoid it. Aha! Okay, I think I'm going to do that. So the 6 nullifies a doom. That is very good news. And I do 2 to the challenge rating. No, neutral events don't do anything with challenges. Right. Next step. Again, I'm thinking that very observant applies here. So the miracle nullifies the doom. We get a total of 3. Unless generate blasts of necrotic energy, decays, ages, rots. Again, I don't think my blessing is very much applicable here. So I'm just going to do 3. So we got 1 difficulty left. So for the final part of the challenge, what the hell? Nullifies, luckily, 2 done. Excellent, right. So we get through this trapped section. Not sure exactly who set the trap. Maybe it was a fallen one that actually set the trap. Maybe they're hanging around waiting for somebody to get pierced and stuck. Right, we move to the next area of the city. What awaits us? Awaiting us is 2. Nothing. Nothing. Excellent. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means, if we have 6 in total, that means that this is the, what's the word? Is it penultimate? The second to last challenge, which means it's going to be a 2d6 difficulty, and I'm thinking it's going to be Corruption Claw. Yeah, he's come. He's coming to try and stop me. Last gasp attempt to stop me, and he's got a little bit of revenge on his mind. So we are facing the Corruption Claw. Can't spell. Dun dun dun. This recurring villain is coming to get me. Now this is a 2d6 challenge because it's, what do we got? 8. Okay. Still doable. We may get to meet the dragon. Okay, so we're up against the Corruption Claw. As we get past the trap section, maybe the Corruption Claw actually sort of set the traps for me, hoping to sort of pierce me, and he can then sort of slice me apart at his leisure. But I got past the traps, and he now confronts me in a street, in a misty, multicolour street, and says, "You escaped the traps. I'll now have to take you down normally. Prepare to meet the wrath of the claw." You know, that kind of thing. Right, let us have a go. Now, I can actually use my blessing for this. My blasts of necrotic energy, I can actually use as a weapon against this thing. So that could represent the miracles I'm going to be using. But I really want to try and get 2 miracles so I can reduce my dooms. But let us start this penultimate challenge. I think that's the right word. Let's go! You swine. Oh no. Well, I don't have any torments. There's no misfortunes there. Tricking or bluffing. Nope, not applicable. Very observant. Not applicable. Okay, so there's nothing affecting this particular challenge. Oh no! I've got a doom. Now again, I could use an omen. Because again, at the back of my mind, I'm still considering the fact that if I roll a 666, I'm dead, and I need 3 omens to overcome that. I don't really want to start the fight with a Corruption Claw like this. So I'm going to use an omen, get rid of the doom, and nothing happens. So first, we're just circling each other. Circling the prey. Right, second round of combat. Come on. That's a bit better. However, still got a doom. No, I could take a doom here, or I could use an omen. No, I can potentially do 3 damage. Should I? Again, I'm hesitant to use in case. But again, in case I might not roll the 3d6, in which case I'm holding back for no reason. So I'm going to use another omen, get rid of the doom. Right, we do 3 damage. So he's down to 5. All right, next round. So we managed to blast him with part of our necrotic energy, doing a little bit of damage to him. But he's still there. He's still having a go at us. We get, oh, that's very nice. 2, 3, 4 damage. So again, we've got the miracle. So this was a more powerful blast of energy. So 2, 3, 4. We've got 1 point left. One more challenge rating left. Come on! That'll do. So no necrotic blast this time. I didn't get a miracle, so I can't actually use my blessing. But I do manage to sort of punch and uppercut and hook. And he goes down, hopefully this time for good. Oh, didn't tick that one. Okay, Corruption Claw is overcome. Hopefully he's gone. Maybe as I punch him down at the last, maybe his body disintegrates and I see the possessing spirit sort of drift away and merge with this multicolored mist that is enveloping, covering the city of Victoria. So hopefully that's the last we'll see of the Corruption Claw. But you know what this means? This means we get to the final challenge. Oh, we get to meet the dragon. Now, the final challenge is a 3d6 challenge. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I might actually survive. So this is going to be the dragon. Right, now for the last challenge, we are going to need the Colossus sheet. So we're going to be using the Colossus rules and the Colossus. So we do manage to get to the end of the rift. We meet the dragon. Now, what I'm going to do is say that the dragon is actually the corrupted Kuka. Yes, Kuka. We haven't actually come across this empowered that started all the trouble, that opened the rift and opened the portal and started the apocalypse. We haven't actually come across this evil empowered. But I'm thinking that when Kuka opened the rift, she was possessed by more than one spirit, and that represents this sort of Colossus and her being the dragon. And this is what we're going to have to overcome. So we're actually having to overcome the dragon Kuka. Because if I remember correctly, and again, I might have to go back and check. In Brazilian folklore, Kuka was kind of like a half human, half crocodile or alligator or something. So it kind of makes sense that she would become sort of a dragon style of fallen one. That's how I'm doing it anyway. So we're actually up against the corrupted Kuka, this possessed, huge, mutated form of the previous empowered. So hello Kuka, how you doing, bitch? Right, we've got our deck of cards because we're going to be placing 4 cards here. If you haven't seen the previous episode where we fought the Colossus, go back. I'll leave a link in the top here. And in that episode, I kind of explain everything in a bit more detail about how we do Colossus fights. But I'm going to continue, assuming that you have watched that episode, because you should have done. You should watch the whole series. It's fun. But yes, I think as I record this, there's still a couple of days left on the Game Found project, the Game Found campaign for INFAERNUM, this game. I'm having a lot of fun with this. It's extremely simple in terms of the mechanics, but it really does, it infects you with creative urges. And like I said, I'm having a lot of fun. And the fact that you can use this for anything, you can even use it within your other games to represent some kind of apocalyptic event or some kind of end of the world event. So we've shuffled them without dropping any for a change, which is amazing. So I'll put 4 cards around the Colossus to represent sort of the 4 potential dooms, or maybe the 4 hit locations. I'm going to do it in terms of hit locations, sort of front, back, left and right, or maybe something like that. All right, so the Rift Dragon is the corrupted Kuka. Now what I've done is I've actually put the 4 types of dooms already. If it's a diamond, if the card is a diamond, it represents sharp claws attacking me. If it's a heart, it represents fiery breath. A spade represents a bite, and a club represents a tail swipe. So in this case, they're all just pretty much general damage dealing attacks. Last time the Colossus did have a regeneration one because I rolled up randomly last time for the Colossus dooms or kind of attacks. This time I'm just putting sort of dragon attacks here. So again, I've got my shaggy miniature. That's going to represent me, Eduardo Ventura Barros, the Death Roach. I am going to start at the front, or maybe the top or whatever. I'm going to be starting in front of the Colossus, in front of the dragon. So as I enter this final location, as I get right close to the docks, the exit from the rift is ahead of me, but between me and the exit, between me and the docks, is this huge dragon. It's like a spirit dragon, sort of partially physical, partially insubstantial, kind of half in and out of the spirit world kind of thing. And I do recognize some of the features, and it talks to me, and I recognize this is Kuka. So the dragon basically comes and says, "You have got this far, but no further." I'm not a very good voice actor, I do apologize, but I'm representing front. Actually, no, I'll do this in the front. Front, back, left, and right of this dragon. Now, we rolled a challenge of... Where did I put the sheet? Where did I put the rift sheet? Here we go. A total challenge of 9, which is not a lot. So this is going to be an easier fight, I think, than the last Colossus, but it's okay. So in terms of damage, we've got, what, 9 in total. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and maybe front, back, left, right. Maybe I'll put 3 at the back to represent sort of the torso and the tail. This is representing the head. This is representing the right side, maybe the sort of legs and the wing. And this is representing the left side. Or should I have it the other way around, 3 and 2? Yeah, I think the head should have more. Whatever. Okay, so in total 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So a total challenge of 9. So it should be easier. Oh, I shouldn't say that, should I? I shouldn't have said anything about it's going to be easy. Because the thing is, I've only got 2 omens left, and I've only got 3 points left on my doom track. This thing could still very easily kill me. Right, standard rules are similar to other challenges. But when a doom occurs, we have to turn over the card. Last time, I kind of made up some other rules for myself in terms of I can only do damage at a location where my figure is currently located. Sort of if I do 3 damage to this location and I roll more miracles, I'm not actually doing anything to the creature. To move from one location to another, you need to roll neutral events. Each neutral event can allow you to move 1 space or 1 location. And you've got to deplete each location. If you roll a doom, you flip the card, and that tells you how it attacks you. And like I say, I've only got 3 spaces left, so that could come in useful. All right, let's get on with it. So we're up against the dragon, this sort of mutant form of Kuka, the enemy who started all this. Let's see if we can take her down. So we're at the front, so we're going to be attacking the sort of head or the front part of the torso to begin with. Let's see how we do. Come on, come on, come on. No! Oh, no! Are we already? Already? I mean, the omens, I can re-roll a dice or I can negate a doom. Again, hopefully you've seen the other videos in this series, but in the earlier videos, there's been times when I've re-rolled and I've gotten another doom. I think that happened every time I re-rolled, so I'd stop doing that. Okay, I'm going to have, yeah, I don't want to take dooms already. Now, I do have the option of moving 2 times. It might be easier to clear some of these, I think. So I'm actually going to move to the back. So the dragon lunges at me, but I managed to avoid the lunge and move under the body to the rear. So I'm going to be attacking the rear of the torso and the tail, because I'm thinking that it might be easier to kind of take down a location, which limits the number of different dooms it can do on me. Not the number of dooms, but the different types of dooms. Right. Next round of combat, let's see what happens. So I managed to avoid the dragon, luckily, but I've only got one omen left. Ooh! We get, okay, 2 neutral events. So again, I can move twice, and we do a miracle, which is 2 damage, which means that location is now done. I can now move twice. I don't want to move twice. I'm just going to move once. So I've depleted that location, so I don't need to go back there anymore. Because I can't physically do any more damage to that location. So hopefully that renders that card forgettable. Yeah, okay, let's continue. So I've managed to blast a bit of my energy and sort of really cripple the tail and the rear of the creature. So we've now moved onto the left side under the wing with the claws. We attack. Oh no. I mean, I do enough damage to take down the left side. But now I'm thinking that my last omen I'm going to keep because I might want to re-roll something. So I think I'll take the doom and I deplete. That's 3 damage there. So I deplete that area. But because it's a doom, we have to flip the card, and it is the 8 of spades, which means bite. So as I attempt, or as I do actually attack this side of the creature with my necrotic blast, doing a lot of damage, ripping the wing, tearing the muscles, it actually manages to reach around and swerve around and actually bite me. As I'm trying to avoid it, it does actually catch me with part of its bite. Ow! So I've got 2 doom points left and I've got 1 omen left. I've still got 2 more locations. Now, another thing is, if you notice, I didn't move. I didn't move. And I'm doing it so that I move at the end. So if, for example, I have damage and neutral events in the next round, I can't actually do any damage because I'm doing damage goes first. So I can't actually move this turn, so I'm kind of stuck here. There's no more damage to do here, so I'm not going to actually do any more damage in this turn, which is a bit of a problem. So next we get, again, this potentially would have done 1 damage, but there's no damage in this location and I'm doing damage first. But we do have 2 neutral events which will allow me to move to here. But again, no damage this turn. Right, and luckily no dooms this turn. Right, next turn. So now we're on the right side, trying to attack again. That's actually good. We do 2 damage and we do manage to move afterwards as well. So we do 2 damage, take down the wing, and we manage to move to here. So it's all about the head. It's all about the front of the torso and the head of this dragon. I've got to try and take it down, but this has 3 challenge points. Come on. No, it's fine. Okay. I can move twice, but there is a doom. Now, do I want to use my last omen? Yeah. I use my last omen. I've got no more omens left, but we do get rid of that doom. We're still surviving. I can move, but I don't think I want to. Right, so we do no damage that turn, but we do survive. Let's continue. So we have another swing. We try again to zap the head. That's a bit better. That's a bit better. Move, 2 deeds, so that's 2 damage. So this location is down to 1. It's still there. I can move if I want to, but I don't want to. So next turn, come on, I need 1 more damage. Yeah, baby. Neutral event and 3 damage. And again, it's a blast. I can do a blast. Takes down the head. The dragon goes down. I nimbly, maybe not so nimbly, avoid the falling body or the carcass or the head of the dragon as it falls to the ground and again sort of dissipates into this multicolored mist and joins the rest of this multicolored mist or fog that's covering the city. And with that, I overcome the Colossus and I overcome the rift. Now, what I'm going to say is, normally you would absorb one of the Colossus dooms or sort of attacks as part of your character, like we did last time with the regeneration. But I'm not going to do that this time because it's the end. It's basically the end of the game, the end of this empowered. So I don't actually need it. But I am going to roll up the artifact for overcoming the rift, because yes, we have overcome. The rift has been passed. We have managed to move through. Just out of interest, what were the other cards? Heart, clubs, and clubs again. Okay. We have overcome the rift, so we do get the reward. We do get... Well done, Shaggy. We do manage to get the salvation, the artifact, and it could have been closer, but like I say, I'm a little bit lucky. Right, so what's going to be the artifact that we find? Where is the rift supplement? Here it is, right. So, what is the legendary artifact found? Maybe it, as the dragon sort of dissipates from maybe one of its bones, or maybe one part of its body sort of falls to the ground, left behind, and maybe that becomes the artifact? Let's roll it up and see what we get. So we're rolling 3d6. Let us see what we find, what we get. We get 8. A vial that, when opened, drains a fallen one into it, enslaving it. I think this is the wrong word. Now, when I was checking through the document that mindsvision sent me, I mean, they didn't ask me to proofread it, but you know, I'm a teacher, I'm a lecturer, so it's kind of things that I kind of do it automatically. I didn't actually check the supplements when I was doing the going through. Drain normally, I think, represents something coming out, or you're losing something. So I'm thinking that this should be more like it sucks or it absorbs a fallen one into it, enslaving it. Ooh, that's really nice. Maybe, okay, I'm changing it a little bit to sort of fit the story. Maybe it's not a vial. Maybe one of the dragon's eyes drops to the ground, and it's like a gemstone. Maybe the dragon's eyes were like gemstones or something, and maybe it's the gemstone that can absorb a fallen one and allow me to enslave it. So maybe it becomes like a not companion, but something that I can summon to actually fight for me. And then maybe after the fight, it goes, if it hasn't been killed, maybe it goes back into the gem and I can keep it with me. That sounds all right. Now, again, I need to use 2 miracles to use this gem of fallen one enslaving. But that's what we find. Let me just quickly write that down here. So I've just written here, Dragon Eye Gem can absorb a fallen one, enslaving it. Very, very nice. But we have come to the end of the rift. We managed to pass the dragon, and as we keep walking towards the port, we actually come back to the real world. We leave the mist, we leave the rift, and we see that there are a number of boats here, a number of ships. Many of them have been scuttled or sunk and are now wrecks, but there is one small ship or a small boat left. I'm going to say it's a motorboat. It has an engine. Does it have a sail? The thing is, I don't think my character's going to have any knowledge of sailing. So having a sailing ship is kind of like a sort of there's a boat here, but you don't know how to use it kind of thing. So maybe it's a motorboat in terms of having a motor engine. So I rush towards it, run down the dock. I jump into the boat, cast loose the ropes, and I get into the boat and I just continue out towards the ocean, and I'm hoping to find some kind of island or small land mass that I can then sort of set up as the promised land away from the spirits and the fallen ones and the apocalypse, and that I can live happily ever after, or maybe just live ever after, maybe not so happily. So that we are done. The Empowered, we managed to survive all 7 days, because maybe I do find a small island out at sea, and I do notice behind me on the mainland, the end of days, the apocalypse. I see mushroom clouds, darkness spreading everywhere, screams that I can hear even over these many, many miles of ocean. but I do survive, and I can live out the rest of my days on this small island, Tom Hanks style. Yes, cast away, but we will survive. If I remember correctly, I think there is at least one supplement in the game. Can't remember what it's called. Is it Domains? Where it actually gives you rules or gives advice about how to play the game after the 7th day, where maybe the prophecy wasn't entirely true and you now live in a post-apocalyptic world, fighting to survive against the fallen ones. But we're not going to do that. We are going to call an end to this series, The Empowered. And like I say, I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I hope you guys can see how the game plays, what you're going to get if you back the project, or if you're watching this after the project has finished, what you can buy normally through drive-through or whatever. And I do highly recommend it. It looks beautiful. Like I say, I haven't really done the game justice with all of these black and white prints and my preview copy print out of the main rules. I haven't done the book justice. Go to the GameFound site or go to wherever you normally purchase games and have a look at the actual product. It's going to be something beautiful. I think the book's planned to be about 190 pages. Over half are these supplements, ways that you can adapt, modify, evolve your game. It covers things such as dungeon crawls, things such as Colossus, using cards instead of... There's a lot in here. There's even rules for more futuristic, sci-fi, cyberpunk settings. There is actually a supplement as well that covers that. There's a lot here. And to all of you guys that are stuck playing 5e, try something else. You won't regret it. There's a lot of amazing games out there, and if you only focus on that one game on 5e, you're missing out on a lot. Thank you very much for watching. Do appreciate you guys. Take a moment to like and subscribe. Please add some comments. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, from myself and INFAERNUM, take care, stay safe, cheers.